All right, Jake, we are live again. We're back after a, how many weeks? 2-week break? 3-week even?
I think it's 2.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, we're back.
We're back. Good to be back.
Right in time for the draft.
Kind of cold in the office. A little cold.
A little cold.
It's funny because it was hot for
every day.
As long as we can remember. The whole time we've had the office, it's been like unbearably hot when you come in. And now all of a sudden we're like, oh, it's nice out. It's probably going to be hot in here. Let's wear T-shirts and it's cold.
Dude, I know. I totally texted you this, and like yesterday you're like, it was hot.
The same.
So someone this morning must have just jacked up the air conditioning.
Yeah.
I don't know, the fan, whatever you want to call it. Well, welcome back, folks. This is the episode 11 of the AJ Show, and it is right before draft week, which we have an important announcement that if we haven't already made it very clear, or you're living under a rock and don't follow us on social media, you will now know that me, that guy right there, and my co-host of the Downtown Rams podcast, Alexis Kraft, will be in this very room next week for all 3 days of the NFL draft, covering each pick, adding some insight that maybe you're tired of the telecast and you just want to mute the telecast and listen to us. So you can watch the telecast, listen to us, or you can watch us and just that's it. But we will be here for you all 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Going to have plenty of content. We're going to be on all platforms, our personal accounts, Downtown Rams, AJ Show, you name it, we'll probably be on it. So we somehow figured out how to go into Instagram, so that's kind of cool. I don't know how well that will work, but you know.
Yeah, we'll see.
That we'll call that in beta.
Yeah.
Everything else has been tested pretty well. Instagram is just kind of, shooting stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks. But
it's gonna be fun.
But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. What are you most looking forward to about?
I think just the vibe. 3 people, 3 personalities hanging out, reacting to all the picks. People that are experts on different kind of conferences and NFL teams.
That's true.
Have differing opinions. I've seen
Very
Alexis's top. She's been making like a top 10 list as well as you.
Yeah. And
hers is totally different than yours a lot of the time and vice versa. So it's just going to be nice to have everyone's perspective and it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, the common misconception is, like, people think, like, Alexis and I agree on, like, everything for whatever reason. And that's just not true.
Right.
We agree on a lot for sure, but we don't agree on everything.
Right.
And so, I think that's the thing. It's honestly a theme with the NFL draft. We're never going to agree on everything. You and I don't agree on everything. It would be boring if we did. What would you be watching? You'd be watching two people. Yeah, I think this guy's the number one linebacker. Yeah, dude, me too. I think this guy's the number one quarter. Yeah, me too. Like, it would just be so boring.
There'd be no conversation. Be like, so what?
I'm not arguing anything if I agree with you.
So what do you think of Najee Harris? I like him. Yeah, me too. Oh.
On to the next thing.
All right, next.
What about wide receiver? Jalen Waddle? Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What about tight end? Kyle Pitts? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Sewell? Yep. And honestly, a lot of those we probably do agree on. But
there's little different intricacies,
Your boy, it's Aiden Too Cool, says hello.
What up, Aiden?
I saw he was in your stream last night.
Yeah, man.
I was in your stream last night.
Thanks for coming to the stream last night, Aiden. Appreciate you.
So, I'm pretty hype. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, I don't know how you want to go into it because we had a show plan early on in this, just doing this, but I think we do better without a show plan, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like it when we just kind of flow.
So, I mean, let's talk about, what is buzzing right now. And, a couple of things out there. It sounds like the Bengals are going to want Jamar Chase, which means that a guy that I think is a generational tackle in Penei Sewell is going to be falling outside the top 5. How do you feel about that?
I think it doesn't make any sense for the Bengals to not draft him. It doesn't make any sense, dude. They need him so bad. Joe Burrow got so just beat up last year. That offensive line is an absolute joke. I don't know who they expect to step up, but they need people to step up at multiple positions. It's not like their left tackle is just the only weak point. Their offensive line just needs help, and Joe Burrow needs help, and I don't know what they're doing if they actually go and get Jamar Chase. I mean, granted, he's going to be a great wide receiver. I don't have doubts about that, but dude, you got to set your priorities.
It's weird because it's the fans that are like, oh yeah, they need Jamar Chase. I feel like everybody forgets Tyler Boyd is a stud. And he's had
Boyd is
2
good.
Straight seasons
and T. Higgins
1,000 yards.
T. Higgins was great last year as a rookie, so I expect him to take another step too.
So then people would be like, well, you need 3 receivers in this league. And I'd be like, yeah, look at this receiver class. You can get one in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, even 6th. I mean, it's a 3rd receiver. It's not
get
a
him in the 2nd. Get him with your 2nd round pick. You're still in the top 40 picks right there.
And then when people say, well, what about the offensive tackle spot? Because it's also very deep. I'm like, I'd agree. It's a huge offensive tackle draft.
It's deep, but when you have a guy like Sewell there, you don't think about it.
I have one generational grade in this draft, and it is Sewell. I just don't know. Even if you need a quarterback, it's hard to pass up on a guy like that because you feel like seemingly, I mean, anybody with any brain knows that you have to build inside out in the NFL.
Yeah.
You have to. If you build wide receiver in, you're not going to have a good offensive line. Therefore, your quarterback's never going to be able to get the ball to said receiver. I don't get it. And the whole buddy thing I also don't get because we've seen that in the past. We've seen so many times where it's oh, well, he threw to him in college, and then they don't go out and get that guy. But then in this case, it'd be if he needs an LSU receiver so bad, how about they trade down and they get what's his name? Terrace Marshall, who is also at LSU, who also is very good, who actually offers more upside as far as size-wise. He's 6'4" instead of 6'1".
Yeah.
And he can go up and really pluck the ball out of the air.
I think he's a different type of player, though.
Oh, well,
Jamar Chase is
different.
the home run kind of guy. So I feel like that's probably what they're looking for because they didn't work out with John Ross. Which I still think is such a weird situation. They just did not give him a shot.
And it's weird. Yeah,
he was injured, yes, but they just.
But when he was healthy,
they didn't even try.
Scratch.
Yeah, they didn't even try. It was very strange. But yeah, I think they should go Sewell, man. It doesn't make sense.
It's Aiden Too Cool says the Bengals should be charged with murder
of Joe Burrow. Yeah, if they don't draft Sewell, they should be. They're signing his death warrant.
It's awful. Yeah, so that's a pretty big topic right now. That they're going to go that route. It's going to change everything. The 49ers, are they taking Mac Jones like you think or like they think or you?
I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know. I didn't think that they should take Mac Jones at 3 when that rumor started. But
I didn't either.
But everyone is running with it, so I'm like, maybe people just know something I don't know. But to me, it doesn't make sense, man. Justin Fields, I would take over him. Trey Lance, I would take over him. Take your pick.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I mean, Trey Lance is my number 1 quarterback. Justin Fields is number 2, and Trevor Lawrence is number 3. You're going to have 2 of my top 3 quarterbacks at 3. Because I think Zach Wilson's really good, but I have him at 4, and he'll be off the board. So the draft really starts at pick 3.
What if the Jets don't take Zach Wilson? I mean, they haven't committed. What if they take Justin Fields?
I mean, that's what I would do. Like, I mean, I would take Lance, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't understand why the Jets are so sold on Zach Wilson, because I don't feel like there's a
but maybe
guy.
They're not, is what I'm saying. Like, we haven't gotten validation. People just assumed.
Yeah, I think it's more so just, the whole they're apparently like infatuated with him and all that. So it's all these reports, but what if the reports are wrong?
Yeah. What do you think of the report about Justin Fields? What does he have?
Epilepsy.
Yeah, epilepsy. Do you care at all? I don't.
I find that really odd that they put that out there.
Yeah. I feel like, well,
is it like a bashing fest to Justin Fields lately?
I don't know. Maybe it just came out because it finally came out. I don't know. But it is weird timing right before the draft.
Also, I don't know how that stuff is like legally allowed to get out. That seems like a pretty personal health condition.
Yeah, but
like, I understand teams know, right? Like your employer knows. Fine. But like, why is a reporter coming out and saying
it could just be friends that, feel important. They were like, hey, I know that he has epilepsy. And they felt really cool doing that or something. Or it's teams leaking it because they want him to drop. I mean, I wouldn't put that past teams. NFL teams are dirty, bro. They would.
Yeah, look at the Dan Marino draft.
Yeah, there's teams out there that would absolutely be like, well, if we leak this, maybe he'll drop a couple extra spots or something,
Yeah, it just seems weird to me. Tom Rice just joined our Instagram. What's up, Tom? Lance and Fields is a better fit for San Francisco. Agree.
Yeah, I agree. I don't
kind of like the guy on the Houston. Wait. Oh, kind of like the guy on the Houston Rockets that had to retire because he couldn't fly on a plane. What?
Was that for real?
I don't know. All right, so that actually makes a lot of sense if you really think about that. If you can't fly,
well, yeah, you can't get to the games. You can't go to the games.
Do you know who that is? I need to know.
No,
who that
I have no idea.
That's amazing. So all right, so we talk about the Bengals pick. We talk about the 49ers pick, and then now there's an interesting thing. Nick Sirianni, the new head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, did not claim Jalen Hurts to be the starter like 100%. Like, he is not saying he is the franchise quarterback. He's saying he's the starter for now. We've seen this. We've heard this dialogue so many times. Are the Eagles going to try and draft a quarterback?
I think they should. I would want them to.
Hurts.
They can stick by him, but if I was sitting there with Hurts, I would want my in a top 10 pick. I'd be like, if a quarterback falls there, I'd be like, oh man, I kind of want my team to take him.
Who do you think would fall? Like Mac Jones?
Well, if it's Mac Jones, I wouldn't want him. I'm saying like if Trey Lance or Fields was there.
It's so weird because like you and I are in agreement. Like I don't agree that Mac Jones is a first round talent.
Dude, I said last night on my stream, even if Mac Jones fell to 24, I still wouldn't want the Steelers to take him.
Oh, absolutely not.
If they took him, I'd jump off a bridge.
Oh, well.
I don't like him.
All right, Steelers. I need my co-host here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I could see them doing it. I don't think they're gonna. I think they'll probably give him a year. I think they should, but I would want like a backup plan. But I hear a lot of Eagles fans saying they want Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, the Eagles.
Have you heard that?
Kyle Pitts, unless they trade.
You think he won't be there at 8?
I think he goes at 4.
Is it 8 or 7?
For
the Eagles, it's 8 or 7. I can't remember.
8 or 7.
Right? They're at pick 8.
Is it like 9?
Is it?
It's like right. All I know is that I've been hearing that they want to get up past the Cowboys because they want to draft Surtain.
Let me look at this. Really?
Yeah, which seems kind of odd. I don't know. They're all over the place. I mean, they really are. They're all over the place.
They have the 6th pick.
The Eagles?
Apparently, according to this.
I thought they traded. No, the Dolphins do. They traded out.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
See
okay.
what I mean? Like,
Yep.
it's so weird.
Yep.
Like, they're moving around like
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
And it's like, what is... I don't know what Howie Roseman's trying to accomplish. But...
Yeah, okay. No, they're not getting Pitts at 12. I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
So
Nor are they getting one of the top quarterbacks, I don't think. So, never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's weird. I don't know. The Eagles are a weird team. I wouldn't be surprised if they were the worst team in football next year, to be honest with you.
I'm excited to see Hurts, though. I liked him.
I like Hurts.
I was, excited to watch him last year. I feel like he didn't really get good opportunities. It was kind of weird.
You know who I'd say didn't get really good opportunities is already being X'd off his team by some people?
Who?
Drew Lock.
Yeah, well, I kind of get it.
I'm not done with Drew Lock because he barely plays rookie year. So he sat that whole year because Flacco. So he barely plays rookie year. And then the next year, he gets a shoulder injury in the Pittsburgh game and is not the same at all. Also, he lost Cortland Sutton as well, his number one receiver.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like everyone is so quick to be like, Drew Lock is trash. But it's like, is he though? Is he? Like, are we just...
you know what
I mean?
It wasn't a good year, but he was battling injury.
That's what I'm saying. He also had the whole COVID thing. Like, where
yeah.
I don't think he had COVID, but, he had to miss games or whatever. They had to sit out their quarterbacks because of it. So, it was just a weird year for Denver.
I mean, towards the end of the year, he did kind of get better, sort of. I don't know. He finished against Carolina with 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and then the Kansas City Chiefs, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I don't know. I mean, yeah, give him another year, right? At least.
Yeah, I mean, I love Trey Lance, but, I don't see the point of Denver trading up and getting somebody. Unless Lance falls outside the top 5, then maybe, but...
Well, he could.
I don't know.
He's going to be somewhere in the top 10 for sure, but he could fall out of top 5.
He could.
I feel like...
I mean, yeah, it could happen.
Have you heard any teams that are, gushing over Trey Lance?
No.
I haven't. So...
Yeah, it's definitely a weird one. I don't know for sure how it's going to go down, but now I want to talk and pivot over to your team because it sounds like I saw something where you tweeted out about Landon Dickerson, but I also saw he was potentially falling to day 3, so I think we're all over the place on him. And Tevin Jenkins, it sounds like who they're looking at, Tevin Jenkins and Najee Harris. So I don't feel like Adam would be happy with either of those guys.
Not really.
I like Tevin Jenkins, but I don't love him.
I think he's overrated.
I think he's first-round talent. I don't think he's I don't know. Some people are putting him on the same tier as Slater.
I watched him in pass protection, and I was not impressed.
Yeah, so I mean...
His mechanics need a lot of work to me. He looks very sloppy. He doesn't look as athletic as he's billed to be. Specifically, I'm talking pass protection. I didn't like watching. When I watched his tape, I was just like, this is honestly not a first-round tackle to me. I was second round, I'd be okay with it.
I like Ray Dunes more.
Yeah, I would me too.
I like Ray Dunes, Slater, Darisaw, and Sewell more than him, but I have him
Slater,
at 5.
Darisaw, Sewell. Yeah, I agree with all that. I like Darisaw more. Yeah, Ray Dunes I like a lot. I would love Ray Dunes, honestly. 24 is a little rich, but if it was Tevin Jenkins or Ray Dunes, I'd go with Ray Dunes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I just look at the second round. If you're already past that elite level, so you go past generational with Penei Sewell, and then the elite level you have Darisaw and Slater, and then Ray Dunes and Jenkins are the very good level. If you're already in that very good level and you feel Ray Dunes is awesome, but I could get Cosme or Eichenberg or Mayfield or Leatherwood or Carmen in the second round, I might opt in that direction because there are other needs the Steelers have.
Yeah.
And if a guy like Elijah Vera Tucker were to fall, I think he would be a really good fit too, because he can play tackle or guard. I think he's the second best offensive lineman after Sewell. I just don't think he's going to fall.
Who?
Elijah Vera Tucker.
Oh, okay.
He's awesome.
What do you think Najee Harris is going to be there at 24? Because I'm actually starting to doubt he will be.
I'm starting to doubt I think he's barely going to go in the first round.
Oh, really? So you think he'll be there past 24?
I don't think
if the Steelers didn't take him.
The way teams
Dude, but think about Josh Jacobs. He went at 24. And I think Najee Harris is a few pegs better than Josh Jacobs coming out. I do, yeah. I like him more.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way I look at it is that running backs – see, you can look at this multiple ways, but I think teams eventually are going to get the hint. Drafting a running back in the first round, that guy needs to be special. Because the fact of the matter –
young.
Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is this, okay?
Which Najee is not.
Todd Gurley goes at 10. Zeke Elliott goes at 4. Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon is the only one right now that I feel – and I don't even feel comfortable with him. I just feel like Elliott's kind of become average now. He has no burst.
He's lost all his –
Gurley, with the knee injury, has not been the same.
No, he's not even close to what he was.
Le'Veon Bell was a second-rounder, and he was one of the best running backs in the league, literally one of the best in the league, and now what is he?
Yeah.
So –
and the best ones right now last year were all second-rounder later guys.
Yeah, and I'm not championing that movement where running backs don't matter because I disagree. But I will say that there's a lot of risk involved picking one in the first round.
Exactly.
And I think Najee Harris gets picked by a team I would have said the Chiefs until they traded their pick. Because I feel like
they would do that again?
Oh, I absolutely think they could have.
Why? They just drafted
well, why did they get Le'Veon Bell?
Because it's probably just thought, good depth. And he was cheap. But to spend another first-round pick on imagine.
I wouldn't be surprised
I'd be pissed if I was a Chiefs fan and they did that.
I would
but they're not going to now.
They're not going to because of the recent trade. Let's talk about that. So Orlando Brown going to the Chiefs.
Yep.
The Ravens are giving up their second-round pick, but they're getting a third and a few picks next year for Orlando Brown. I think there's rarely a time where both teams win in a trade. This is one of those times. I can't find maybe the Ravens end up winning because of how they can replace Orlando Brown.
I think the Ravens won a little bit more because the Ravens weren't keeping Brown no matter what. And they turned a guy they were going to lose into a first-round pick.
That's true.
That's
they get
pretty
a first-rounder next year, right?
It's this year.
No, they get some picks next year, too. I don't remember what it was.
I thought they got no, in next week's draft, they get a first, a third, and a fourth, and a fifth in 2022.
Okay.
So they turned that guy into 3 picks this year and 2 of them being in the top 100. That's pretty good.
So would you rather have Orlando Brown and give up all that, or would you rather have drafted one of the guys, Cosme, Eichenberg, or whatever, not give up all that?
No, I would rather give up Brown and have those picks if I'm the Ravens.
No, I mean the Chiefs.
Oh, okay. If I'm the Chiefs.
Because that's ultimately what they decided. They decided
Orlando
the guys
Brown's
that
really
they
good.
wanted there.
He's really good. He's underrated.
No, I agree.
And they clearly needed it, so they were like, we'll pay for it. And they went out and they got it done. So if I'm the Chiefs, no, I guess I'd rather have Brown just because I know what he is. I know he can be a left tackle. I know I need a left tackle desperately after, the Super Bowl and what we saw.
Yeah.
So to me, it makes a lot of sense for the Chiefs, but I think it makes even better sense for the Ravens. I just think they won more. Both teams won. I just think the Ravens won a little bit more there.
No, it definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you there. Now, okay, so we talked about that, from the Chiefs' perspective and what they're doing with their offensive line. Now they really only have one spot to fill, which is crazy. I mean, they get Blythe in free agency. They get Kyle Long. So I mean, they're adding on to that offensive line. But now, we talked about them. Also at the top, though, I think Tampa is going to get a really good player at 32 if they want him. I also think Tampa could trade down because I think.
Do you have a person in mind for them, or just in general?
Well, I think the way this receiver class looks.
You think Tampa would look receiver?
I think they're going to replace Antonio Brown. I think they'll replace him and they'll get Elijah Moore or somebody like that. I think they want that same ability, but Antonio Brown is going to be a pain to negotiate with.
Elijah Moore at 32.
I'm not as high on him as the rest of everybody is.
I think he's like a second, even third rounder.
But like I think that they would legit like they're gonna end up with a really good player. Keep in mind they have all 22 starters coming back. This is just adding. This is a luxury pick. So like there could be a guy that falls there and they'll pull the trigger. That's why I think Tampa is in a great position in this draft, being at 32, because the second and third round is so beefy. And, like, you're going to see, like, a top 15 talent potentially fall.
That's why I think the Ravens crushed it, man.
Yeah.
They got a third and a fourth, and those are, like, the key rounds in this draft because there's going to be so much
It's funny because everyone's going to link receiver to the Ravens, and I bet you because this is how they work as an organization, they're going to opt away from going receiver.
I think they'll get one.
They might, but not with these picks. I think they're going to spend these picks on filling the hole that Orlando Brown was going to leave because they had to get rid of him regardless. Right. He refused to play because he didn't want to be a right tackle. They have Ronnie Stanley.
So stupid, by the way. And, really diva-y, but whatever.
And so I think they're going to get a tackle, and they're going to get a guy to replace Matt Judon. That's what they do. So, and by the way, this edge class is very underrated. I was pretty impressed.
I don't like it.
Went through it.
I'm just like, I don't care about anyone from it. But also, I don't really need one that bad. Well, so I haven't looked at it that much. But
yeah. I will tell you right now, Jalen Phillips is about as elite of a pass rusher as there's been in the draft.
Okay.
He's a monster. But I think the Ravens, the interesting thing with the Ravens is that at edge, you're looking at a guy like Gregory Rousseau, who was a preseason top 5 pick, to now everybody is soured on him. Dude had 15.5 sacks the year prior, opted out. He's a former wide receiver / DB coming from high school. So he's learning the position, but he had the second best season in the league as a pass rusher behind only Chase Young. Opted out of this season. Now everyone is just completely sold his stock. 6'7", has like monster arms and hand. Like he's just a freak.
Is he going to be like a 4-3 end or? Well,
the weird thing is, it's like
that sounds like a 4-3 end kind of build.
He feels like a 4-3, but they played him at like 0 tech too at times, and he's an edge, but like. So I think he'll be utilized better in the NFL. I think he'll have a better NFL career because, he only played like one legit year in college. But that's a type of guy like the Ravens. They just got another pick.
Mm-hmm.
Like you rolled the dice, not really rolling the dice. I just think you're getting a guy with immense upside at 31.
Yeah.
The
Ravens are going to. No, they're going to load up. I'm a little nervous about it.
Yeah, you're not very happy about that. You know who else is going to load up? Because on my show, I brought on Steffi Smalls, and we were talking about this. The Browns are freaking loaded. The Browns are so loaded, they might be in the best position of nearly anybody in the league.
Yeah. What do you think about Baker as a quarterback? What's your stance on him? You think he's elite?
He might be the weakest link on the team.
Yeah, I agree.
Like on paper, this is he was a guy that I really liked in the draft.
I remember, yeah.
But it's weird, man, because I'll tell you right now, with the Browns' depth chart, like on paper, dude, this is their depth chart. They have Baker Mayfield at quarterback, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt at running back. Wide receiver, they have Odell, Jarvis, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Rashard Higgins. And then their offensive line is probably the best in the league. It's just monstrous. Yeah. They have Jedrick Wills, who they got last year in the draft out of Alabama. Joel Bitonio is one of the best guards, has been one of the best guards over the years. They got J.C. Treader in the offseason, not this past offseason, a few offseasons ago from Green Bay at center. Jack Conklin. But right guard, this is why the Browns, they cheated everyone, because they got Wyatt Teller from the Buffalo Bills, who was I think a 4th or 5th rounder, I want to say out of Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And Wyatt Teller has turned into a Pro Bowler, a guy that the Bills just threw away for nothing.
Yeah.
He's turned into a freaking Pro Bowler. So their offensive line is monstrous. That's not, keeping in mind the fact that they added Nick Harris last year, interesting center from Michigan State, and they have a guy that I really like, Alex Taylor, developmental left tackle, and on top of that, they have Chris Hubbard, who they got from Pitt. So they're loaded the front five, but they also have some backups that could play. Then you look at the defense; they have Myles Garrett. They drafted Jordan Elliott from Mizzou in the 3rd round of the 2020 draft. They had Andrew Billings, who's a pretty solid defensive tackle. Malik Jackson, who they got this year. Joe Jackson from Dallas. Jadeveon Clowney, they just signed. Mm-hmm. They got Sion Takitaki, a 3rd-round pick from 2019, who's played very well. They got Anthony Walker in free agency from Indy. Mac Wilson is their backup linebacker. A lot of teams would cry to have him, and he's their backup linebacker, 5th-round pick in 2019. Jacob Phillips, ultra-athletic linebacker from LSU, 3rd round in 2020. They have Denzel Ward. They add John Johnson and Troy Hill from the Rams. And Greedy Williams, Grant Delpit. And on top of that, they have Ronnie Harrison, who the Jaguars, a 2nd-round pick we loved, a safety, they just threw to the curb for no reason. MJ Stewart comes over from Tampa Bay, and that's that. I mean, Sheldrick Renwine is another guy from Miami that you and I like.
Yeah, they have a lot of talent. Baker Mayfield, I think, has the easiest job in the NFL.
It feels weird because they're kind of stuck with him. He led them to the playoffs and everything, and led them, as far as they went.
Yeah, they're gonna have to give him a mega deal.
But it's
and I can't wait.
Looking at that,
can't wait.
He's literally. I mean, how is he not the weakling?
Who has an easier job than him? The running backs just wear a defense down, and he throws off a play action to Odell and Jarvis, and yeah, I mean.
But, not even Goff, because Goff didn't have the offensive line.
He didn't have the line or the running back help that he does. I mean, Chubb and freaking Kareem Hunt. Are you kidding me? He has the easiest.
Austin Hooper, I forgot to mention.
Yeah, Austin Hooper, who's amazing.
And Njoku's their 3rd tight end.
He has the easiest job of any quarterback in the NFL. So they're going to sign him to a mega deal, and I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's one of those things where, I don't think Baker's bad. But
I don't think he's bad, but I think he's severely overvalued right now because people, especially in the Browns organization, haven't seen success in such a long time that they think it's because of Baker Mayfield, but it's not. They've truly just built. We just
listed what it is, and they're going to get even. That's the thing; they're going to be way better this year. They might be the best team in the AFC.
I wouldn't say that yet
because they're pretty loaded.
You're getting fans back. I think it's going to be a way different year.
So.
That fan thing still sticks out to me. I talked about it last year, and I think a lot of these guys that came up or teams that outdid expectations, it's a different ball game when you're playing in a silent stadium, like a scrimmage environment. Adrenaline matters, pressure matters, being under the bright lights matters, the vibe and the flow of a football game from the crowd matters. It impacts quarterbacks a lot. There's quarterbacks who can handle it and quarterbacks who can't. And I don't know that Baker Mayfield can handle it like that. So I would not say they're going to be the best anything this year at all. I want to see how they perform under the lights.
No, I mean, I get that. That's definitely fair. That'll also be interesting for Josh Allen. Now, with the Browns, with all the, they have picks now on top of this really stacked roster. How do you draft with a roster like this? What do you draft? Do you just go BPA the rest of the way? Do you continue? Do you consider taking a quarterback to develop behind Baker Mayfield?
No, I think they're sold on him right now, which is fine. They need linebackers, dude. They don't have elite linebackers.
So
they could take a Zaven Collins and just round that defense out on a whole nother level.
Yeah, that would be pretty scary. Because
if they got a Devin Bush type player, their defense would would have no weakness.
Anthony Walker's severely underrated, by the way. That's a really big pickup from the Colts. Phillips is like I said, ultra athletic, but I wasn't as high on him in the draft.
Exactly.
Taki's really good. He's got an interesting name. I don't think people take him as seriously, but he is really good. So They could go that route, and to be honest with you,
or a wide receiver.
they could go wide receiver.
Yeah.
And if you had Odell, Landry, and
And
then say
a
you
new
added
pick.
like
Yeah.
Nico Collins or somebody like that, that'd be pretty nuts.
That'd be great. Yeah. They're a great team, like just really well-rounded.
Yeah.
They're definitely, I think, a playoff team without a doubt.
They could get Levi Omuzariki, the number 1 interior defensive line, I think, in this draft from Washington. Have him replace Andrew Billings.
But yeah, I mean, you look at the Browns and top to bottom, there's not a lot of like, big question marks,
Yeah.
just well-rounded.
No, I agree with that. I think, they're definitely in a really good spot. Now, what I'm interested in, because we talk about the Steelers, the Browns, the Ravens. We talked about the Bengals. So we've like covered that entire division.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about the Bucs, the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the 49ers. What about the Jaguars? So after they take Trevor Lawrence, what do? What's the rest of the draft?
They got to keep building, man. They have a lot of holes. That is not a team ready to compete at all.
It's weird because
they're in rebuild though, and that's okay. Like you got to give them 2 years,
Because I look at this depth chart, I'm thinking, their offensive line has some ballers. If Cam Robinson continues to develop, can be a good player. Andrew Norwell, Brandon Lindor. I think they need to get somebody over AJ Can, but they drafted Ben Barch last year.
Jawan Taylor.
And then they have Jawan Taylor right tackle. Ben Barch, I think, will probably take over for Can. And Will Richardson's another guy they have. Do you draft another offensive line, or do you kind of feel good about the starters they have?
I wouldn't mind drafting one, especially with Trevor Lawrence coming in.
Okay.
You just always want to protect your young quarterback.
Yeah.
It's always high on my list.
I think they could go developmental center, too, because Linder's not exactly the youngest center in the league.
And then tight end is, Tyler Eifert is talented, but he's old and always injured.
Well, I think their second pick could be Pat Freiermuth, and
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is at all.
Yeah. And that would make sense to me, seeing him on the Jacksonville's roster, but I don't know. They're obviously not ready to compete yet.
They have some pieces, though.
They
definitely do.
Yeah, for sure.
Devon Hamilton, Josh Allen.
Yep.
Miles Jack, who I really like. Joe Schobert. Definitely would need a corner, but I like Shaquille Griffin. They added him. Andrew Wingard, he had a pretty good year last year. C.J. Henderson's a first-round talent.
Yeah, C.J. Henderson was great.
They added Rudy Ford, but I kind of feel like being a starting safety is a little above his pay grade. So
Maybe.
I think they could definitely go out and get another safety. Yeah, I like what they did. I really like DeJuan Smoot, a guy that they drafted in the third round 2017. They brought him back. They added Malcolm Brown, Calebon Chason.
Yeah. No, there's names
They
for
definitely
sure.
have some pieces there.
Who do you think is going to have the least successful rookie year as a quarterback out of the top 4 or 5 guys?
Well, let's think. So if Lawrence is going to the Jaguars, and then assuming Wilson goes to the Jets, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really do feel like Mac Jones might actually go to the 49ers.
I think he would have success there, though.
I think Mac Jones would be up for Rookie of the Year because that's a great...
Well, because of his OC?
Oh, he's got a good offensive line. He's got a great offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan. He'd have running backs galore. And he's got Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle.
Yeah. Well, who do you think would have the... Wow. So you think Mac Jones, if he did go there, would have potentially the best?
That's the weird thing. Is like I don't love.
But you could
pick.
say that about any of the quarterbacks if they went to 49ers.
Like, I don't love the pick, but like anybody that goes there probably wins Rookie of the Year. The worst. I wouldn't be surprised if Trevor Lawrence struggled. Honestly, with what they have there in Jacksonville, I think they have pieces, but pieces aren't having a team. I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Wilson struggled.
I think, yeah.
Zach Wilson could follow the same exact path that Josh Allen did. It might take him a little bit longer than some of the others because he's like this 1 year guy that kind of came on the radar, had a really good year, albeit he played at a better program than Wyoming. But I wouldn't rule that out.
I could see Justin Fields struggling.
Where's he going?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Because it's like it's weird. I think if the Falcons take Pitts, it's gonna be bizarre.
You think the Falcons will take him? Dude, if you're the Falcons, how are you gonna pass on like a Lance or a Fields though? It just doesn't make sense.
Very simple.
Matt Ryan, bro. No.
Yeah.
Give up.
Well, I'm not saying.
Or at least transition.
I'm not saying I love or dislike Matt Ryan. What I am saying is that actions speak louder than words. And when they restructured his contract, they made it impossible to trade him.
Maybe they're like, let's bring in a young quarterback for them to learn behind Matt Ryan.
But I don't think that you would restructure him if you weren't kind of going all in to try to win with Arthur Smith.
I guess.
And I think Arthur Smith is looking at Matt Ryan the same way he was looking at Ryan Tannehill and like, I could fix this.
Yeah.
And so think about it, you have Julio Jones, you have Calvin Ridley, you have Russell Gage. The offensive line's getting better. Like, it looks pretty good. You've gotten guys like Lindstrom and Hennessy, over the last few drafts. You added McGarry.
I just don't see it.
They've added these guys.
I don't see it.
To me, well, and then you have not Hunter Henry. I always do that. Hayden Hurst. So you have Hayden Hurst. So you add Kyle Pitts to that, and it's like, I mean, how are you stopping that? How are you stopping an offense that is Kyle Pitts, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst, and Russell Gage?
Matt Ryan, I guess,
if you protect Matt Ryan, which the offensive
but he had that last year.
Yeah, but keep in mind, same offensive line, but it's another year for a lot of these guys to develop. These are young offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And it was in an unprecedented offseason with no preseason.
I don't care.
So
if I was the Falcons, I would want a quarterback. Like if it was the Steelers in that situation with Ben, I would be like, I want a quarterback to at least learn.
Well, I wouldn't take a quarterback here, and here's why. Because I have the highest grade on Sewell, and Sewell will be there. And I just feel like if you add Sewell, maybe you try to get back in the first round and you trade up and you get a quarterback if he falls. But Sewell is generational. Like I don't even know how any team could pass him.
Clearly you like him, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
But, I mean, I don't hate the Pitts pick. I think it's between Pitts, Sewell,
I just can't
and Trey Lance / I don't think they'd pick Mac Jones. I think it'd be Trey Lance or Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And if one of them are gone, then it would be the other one, Sewell and Pitts. So, I mean, I guess, it really depends on the fit. Like, Mac Jones goes to the 49ers, I think he can win Rookie of the Year. But if he goes to, like, the Jets, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a horrible season,
What do you think Mac Jones' career is going to be like?
Good career.
Stable?
He seems like Kirk Cousins to me,
I think
solid.
Yeah.
Never, the highs and lows are always kind of like, it goes like this. It's not like,
right.
Like it's just very solid. But I don't necessarily think that's enough to win a Super Bowl.
Right. Clearly not.
So,
because Kirk didn't and probably isn't gonna, but.
I think, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on Mac Jones. Because he's my 6th quarterback, keep in mind. I have Davis Mills at 5. I think Mills is a perfect fit for the 49ers offense. So if they wanted to go out and get Sewell, if that's why they traded up, miraculously it wasn't for a quarterback, and they got Sewell or Pitts.
That would be wild.
Then they got Davis Mills in the 2nd. Everyone would be laughing, and I'd be panicking because they just had a generational talent at tackle, and they got a quarterback that fits their system.
Yeah, you love Davis Mills. Yeah, man. I don't know.
I mean, it's very simple for me. If I'm the 49ers, I take Trey Lance because I think they do need a quarterback. With the Falcons, I don't think they necessarily need a quarterback. I think they almost do, but they're like the Steelers, dude. They're riding it out with Matt Ryan, just like the Steelers are riding it out with Ben.
Yeah, but at least the Steelers are picking 24 because they got to the playoffs.
No, that's true. It's absolutely true. But also, when you think about the coaching change and everything, I think there's a renewed energy in the air, and that could wear off for sure. But I just feel like kind of the Falcons look at themselves in that light. And if that's where they look at themselves, then you know what? That's fine. You know, if you feel that you're in that boat, then go out and get Pitts or go out and get Sewell. It's a good pick. If they get Lance, I'm not going to crap on it. I love Lance.
Right.
He's my number one quarterback. But I think if I'm the Niners, I don't know how you pass on Lance and Fields.
Right. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
I'm actually having a hard time. Like, I know the Jaguars, you know, like, obviously everyone is married Trevor Lawrence to the Jaguars, but I'm not how much better is he than everyone else if you think he's better?
Hard to say.
Because, like, if I'm in that boat, surprisingly, I would trade down. I would trade down to 3. I would say 49ers, come up and get your guy. If you want Zach Wilson, if he's number 1 on your board and you're bummed that you can't get him.
Yeah, but Trevor Lawrence is also like a clean slate. Like, he's a franchise rebuilder, remodeler, more than like a Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. And I mean that in the sense that, like, just look at, like, it's kind of superficial, but he looks like, oh, this is the face of a franchise, new era Jaguars, like, and you can tell
they all do,
and you can tell they're riding that wave, but based on the hires and everything and the way they're hyping this up. But, like, great character. Not that the other guys aren't, but his character has definitely been talked about because it's great, down to earth person, has great just ideologies about life, and he's already married, and his family structure is, like, stable, so this is a guy that you're never going to have issues with, period, point blank. Very marketable. It all makes so much sense for him to just be the number 1 pick. So I don't even think that necessarily he's substantially better than, like, a Zach Wilson or a Trey Lance, but I think when you put the whole package together, it makes sense why, if you're debating between these 3, like, okay, Trevor Lawrence.
Interesting.
Does that make sense to you?
Well, I've never heard that explanation before. So, I mean,
does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's an original thought, too.
And it's not that
just regurgitated.
Right.
He's been the best quarterback for 3 years. Right. I know. I've heard it.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard it over and over again. And I like him. He's my number 3 quarterback. Like, people don't understand. Like, my number 3 quarterback is going to be a top 10 player on my board. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean I hate him. What it means is that I'm not buying into this generational talent hype. I'm not buying into him being better than Luck because he's not. He never has been. Luck was almost a perfect prospect. Like, he's not an Elway, you know. He's not a Peyton Manning. He's better than Bradford. He's better than Goff. He's better than Wentz. He's not Luck, Peyton, Elway. He's not.
But he could be elite. He could evolve into an elite player.
I'm talking just prospect. Like, he could absolutely be elite, but right now as a prospect,
what is he? No, I agree.
He's an elite prospect. I'm not knocking that. He's not generational. There's elite, and then there's generational / blue chip.
But I think he could evolve. I think, as a prospect he's not, but I think he could evolve into, like, a top 5 quarterback.
No, absolutely. You know? Yeah, it's just like, I guess when we're grading prospects, it's like, how easy are they going to transition the NFL? Best way to put it, when you're grading a prospect, it's not necessarily you're ranking them by how well they'll do in the NFL. It's more about what is in their arsenal. How much ammo do they have where I feel like this guy can be the number 1 quarterback in this draft because I feel like I'm getting this, this, and this. Whereas this guy's number 10 because while he had great college production, he doesn't have good size that translates to the NFL for whatever reason. He doesn't have good measurables. He didn't test well. And he played in a crappy conference. You know what I mean? So, like, you got to put all of that together. I think the biggest knock on Trevor Lawrence by far for me is when I watch games, lesser games. I don't feel like he just dominates them the way, like, a Luck would. Or, like, against, like, I always bring it up, but, like, against, like, a Sacred Heart or, like, a Citadel, right? I just don't see the domination. Like, when you watch a guy on film like Quinn Miners playing in his D3 level, he looks like a man amongst boys.
Right.
But when I see Trevor Lawrence against the Citadel, he doesn't stand out more than his running back or his wide receiver or his tight end or his left tackle. I need to see that. And that's the thing. Like, I'm seeing that with Miners in D3. That's the equivalent. I need to see Trevor Lawrence take over in those games. And I didn't see
That's
that.
a fair thing to
and
say.
I also have questions. I mean, the last game, man, him going up against what's his name, Justin Fields. For me, I thought Fields looked better in the moment, and Fields was less like. The thing is, Lawrence had been in that moment many times, and I thought Fields looked more comfortable. It was really bizarre.
Yeah, but you're going against an Ohio State, like undoubtedly, just the whole team played better that night. You know,
I just think they're both Goliaths. They're both Goliath programs.
But that night, I feel like it was just Ohio State's night, and the whole team played better on every level than Clemson.
It's just that, like, you know, that's his last game.
I know.
You'd like to see more of, like.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't scout guys based on just their last game. But I guess I'm just telling you, like, my points about Trevor Lawrence and why I don't think he's, like, you know, check mark Hall of Fame like some people are saying.
No, definitely not.
So I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit on him. But I think you're looking at 4 elite talents at quarterback.
I agree.
Trevor Lawrence.
This is the best quarterback class I've been alive for.
And Wilson.
Have you seen a better quarterback class than this? Like at the top?
At the top? No.
I haven't. I've seen it 3 deep.
Well, I think the closest I've seen to this.
2 or 3 deep, but not
you know what?
5 or
I have
4.
seen something similar to this.
Who?
Lamar Jackson.
Nah.
No. Hear me out. Lamar Jackson, Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield.
No. None of those do. No.
Well, what they've no. Keep in mind what they've done in the NFL so far. We're talking prospects.
Fine, but
Sam Darnold was a huge prospect.
I didn't like.
Josh Rosen was a very good prospect.
I didn't like Sam Darnold.
Baker was a very good prospect.
I didn't like Sam Darnold like that. You know that.
No, I know. But
I didn't like Josh Rosen like that either.
But I'm saying
I didn't like
that
Baker.
that's probably the closest we've seen.
Nah, I wouldn't put them anywhere near this class.
Really?
I think the top 4 guys have all the tools you want. They have the height, the weight, the athleticism, the arm strength, and the performances.
Well, I think
Baker Mayfield did not have the height, the weight, the athleticism.
I don't worry about the height really that much.
If you're talking prospect, that matters.
Yeah, but you know, Kyler was 5'8", and he was my number 1.
And I didn't like him that much either, and I still don't.
He still looks pretty good.
He looks okay, but he has a great team around him, great offensive coordinator.
I wouldn't say great team. But I think
he's in a good position right now.
I think with, like, for instance, Rosen, you're on with the mobility factor. With these guys, they're all
and arm
mobile.
strength.
Well, Rosen had an arm.
I never thought it was that great.
I thought Rosen was pretty good. Lamar Jackson, to me, I mean, where would you rank Lamar Jackson? Like, if you put these guys and Lamar Jackson, where is he? Is he 5?
At a prospect level?
Like
ignoring the NFL?
He obviously won he won the MVP in 2019. But
yeah, well, I still think he's a product of his environment. Like,
okay, but, like, what is he as a prospect? Would he be below those guys?
I would put him, like, behind Fields. I like Fields more as a passer, so I'd put him at, like, 5. I'd put him ahead of Mac Jones.
Oh, okay. If I'm ranking – this is a cool exercise. Let's do this, okay? We'll go each one. So if I'm ranking Lamar Jackson in this class, and we have a top 5, number 1's Lance for me. Number 2 is Lamar. Number 3 is Fields. Number 4 is Lawrence. And number 5 is Wilson.
Okay.
Now, if it's Darnold, because this is just as prospect and how I felt, Lance 1, Fields 2, Lawrence 3, Darnold 4, Zach Wilson 5.
No way. I like Zach way more than Darnold coming out.
I think Darnold played in bigger games and was more effective and did it for a longer time. Darnold was a special prospect at one point or another. I mean, we were talking about him the way we talk about Lawrence his freshman year.
Don't put me in that camp.
No, do you remember in general? Dude, do you remember the Rose Bowl game, USC versus Penn State? We saw Saquon Barkley. We knew that guy's a stud.
Yeah.
We saw Chris Godwin. We knew that guy's a stud. We saw Juju Smith-Schuster. Knew he was a stud. Then we were like, who the hell is throwing the ball for USC? Oh, it's Sam Darnold. Yeah, that guy's a stud. And then everybody was talking about his name. Like, he put USC back on the map. And then he wasn't quite up to that level, but he was still a really good prospect.
I'm sorry. I truly was not ever sold on him.
And then, so then Rosen, I would have.
Rosen, I definitely wasn't sold on.
Rosen, I would have below Wilson. I'll give you that. So I'd have him at 5.
I would hope.
So I'd have the same, and then I have
You
Wilson.
really don't like Wilson that much.
No, I like Wilson.
You're putting him behind. You liked Rosen that much coming out?
No, Rosen's 5 for me.
But still, that puts him in. I wouldn't even put him in the top.
We're ranking him a top 5 with those
guys.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
So then Baker's interesting.
Baker, I didn't like that much either coming out.
Because Baker, I did really like, but I think I'd still put Wilson ahead of Baker.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I guess my point is that Lamar is in this tier as a prospect.
As a prospect, yes.
And then I think looking at what I thought about Darnold, I thought Darnold would belong in the conversation today if you took what he did at USC and you put it today. But I don't necessarily think that he would have an argument to be the top quarterback. I think he would have an argument to be in that top 4. But Lamar would have an argument to be better than Lance. I love Lance. Lance is the best quarterback prospect I've seen since Luck.
That's a big statement.
I love him.
Yeah.
I think
he's just got a lot of growing to do, which is fine. I think he can do it.
Well, he kind of got screwed out of not being able to play this whole year.
Okay.
He played
Yeah, but that still doesn't invalidate the point that he has growing to do.
No, your point is absolutely valid, but when I hear people... So, we'll take 2 players, for instance, that I keep hearing about. Dylan Moses and Trey Lance. Dylan Moses had a monster 2018 season, but 2019 he tears the ACL. So he missed all of 2019. Then 2020, he had a torn meniscus he played with the whole year. That's already out. Everyone knows it. And when people ask me, why do you have Dylan Moses as your linebacker 2? Like, he was horrible in 2020. He also played with a torn meniscus all of 2020. He didn't get to play in 2019 because he tore his ACL. In 2018, his tape was phenomenal. Are we throwing away his 2018 tape out?
No, I think, I think people are souring on him a little too critically, like too harsh, for sure. But I don't think he's like a first-round linebacker.
Now, okay, so the reason I can understand him not going in the first round is because, simply put, that injury concern.
Yeah, he was injured. He tore things in both the years he played.
But I think when people say, they don't talk about the injury and they talk more about, they say that he's just a bust, or they say that he's not
because of the
talented.
Tackling.
It's like, that's ridiculous. A guy on TikTok made a minute video, and now everyone thinks they know how good he is.
I know, which is dumb. But I will say the criticism pointed out were valid. That was bad tape.
No, it absolutely was.
But it's probably being looked at too critically because people aren't considering that he was playing on a torn meniscus.
And he took 4 plays out of his entire career to just trash him.
Well, we don't know if there could have been more.
I'm
sure there's
I've watched all their games, and it's not littered with plays like that.
No, I'm sure not. Yeah.
So he
wouldn't play if it was they wouldn't play him.
No, absolutely, absolutely. It's
they would be like,
what the hell
they'd be like,
doing?
What are you doing, bro?
But I hate stuff like that because we do it all the time on Twitter. If you put a film clip up there, be like, yeah, he can do this. It's not about if he can do it. It's about if he can do it consistently. And
did he run or do any combine work?
He didn't. He's still recovering from it.
That sucks.
I know. I really hate it.
I would have loved to see his numbers.
But I guess kind of like the same thing. So that TikTok clip, I think the reason it bothers me so much is, are we ever going to see something like where we see Trevor Lawrence trying to thread a needle against the Citadel and having him get picked off? Like, we won't see stuff like that. Or we won't see, Najee Harris getting blown up in, pass pro, which happened, by the way. Javonte Williams got thrown 10 yards backwards in pass pro. But it's like, people will literally nitpick certain players. And I'm like, keep that same energy with everyone else.
Or just don't do it because everyone has a bad player.
That's my point.
There's no perfect guy who's never had a bad play. You could find Sewell getting probably smoked on a couple plays. I mean,
because it's these guys, I feel like people forget these guys are playing at the highest level before the NFL.
Yeah.
Against all the best guys before the NFL. And we already know most of these guys can play in the NFL as it stands.
Right.
So it's going to happen. Like, a guy isn't trash because he didn't get enough depth as a linebacker in coverage.
And you're also getting way better coaching in the NFL too.
Well, and that's the thing. So, when we're talking about, I mentioned Quinn Miners earlier. when people talk about him as like this top talent, that's my issue with Miners, is that I don't think Miners is bad. Miners bullies guys, okay?
I love him, bro. I would love him in the second or third.
But, right, the second or third. Not first, second or third. And probably like a late second, early third.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing with Miners. He's had that D3 coaching. So it's not going to be...
He's not even coached well.
It's not even going to be plug and play, though.
No.
So, like, when people say, I'd plug him in right at center day one, hello.
I think you could.
Maybe.
Maybe
this offseason.
I really like him. Like, if the Steelers did, like, Ray Dunes and Miners in the third...
I will say, if the Steelers get Ray Dunes, Miners, have Dotson, and the guy I always forget.
DeCastro?
He's so good. DeCastro, yes.
That's a great line, bro.
And then just get another tackle.
Just let Banner and Chucks fight it out again. And whoever wins.
Because they'd be able to draft a starting tackle. They could get, like, Walker Little or somebody like that.
Another one in like, what, round 4? Yeah. Just totally rebuild the offensive line in one shot.
Come on, Ben. Let's do it.
I really like him, and I like Randunes a lot. Those two, man, I gush over them because to me, they're like really well balanced too. Like they can pass pro, they're mean, they hold on to blocks. They're not, they don't get thrown off of blocks.
Totally
they're
agree.
Awesome. But I kind of want to bounce to Najee Harris again real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching him more and more because I've kind of been having to warm myself up to the idea that the Steelers, if he's there, he's going to be their pick. I won't like it because of the fact that I know what we need is offensive line, but like Najee Harris, wherever he goes, is going to be a good player, man. Like he's really a great running back.
He's a plug and play running back.
Yeah. And his pass catching is underrated as hell. Have you seen him like run routes?
I've actually been saying I think he's a better route runner than Etienne.
Yes.
But everyone obsesses over Etienne's pass
because he's faster.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks better on film. By the way, you could there's a film clip of the guy that doesn't have any sort of work ethic and is really, lazy.
Who?
The guy we were just talking about, Dylan Moses.
Oh, yeah.
Running 50 yards to chase down Etienne.
Yeah.
So miss me with that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you, and I think that's something that needs to be said because the Steelers would look at that. I think they want to get back to where they were with Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think they realized James Conner was a good change of pace, I guess, more of like a bruising back, but he wasn't Bell.
No,
and they
he
really
wasn't.
needed somebody like that. Then they drafted Benny Snell, who is kind of another James Conner.
Yeah, that's
so
exactly what he is.
Really what they want, and I'll tell you what they want to do. They want to get a guy who can be like Le'Veon Bell, but they also very much want to utilize that running back from Maryland with the guy that used to be Maryland's OC.
Yeah.
Who's
with
now
a Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, if you have McFarland and Najee Harris, yes, your O-line will obviously have suffered because that means you didn't take a offensive lineman in the first.
But
those two together would be a really dynamic like 1-2 punch that Canada could do a lot of really cool stuff with.
And you're in the same division as the Browns, so you've already seen what Chubb and Hunt can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly where the league is going to be trending. You get a lot of these really good running backs in the league. That's where it's going to be trending.
Yeah, man. And you can do it because you can get them in the mid-rounds.
Yeah.
So
look at the Rams. They're going to have Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson.
But yeah. And I do have Najee Harris as running back 1. I was debating between Javonte and him, but
that's interesting. You do.
I think the value's better with Javonte because you could get him in the second.
Well, I think he's got higher upside.
Javonte?
Yeah. So I think he can end up the better player when it's all said. But it goes back to the what I was saying earlier. Najee has more in his arsenal to be a better player long term.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that he will. But right now, I can bank on him being that plug-and-play guy. He's a better route runner than Javonte, and I think he's better in pass pro than Javonte.
Yeah.
But when Javonte gets it together, and keep this in mind, Najee Harris, for the most part, was a bell cow at Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Javonte wasn't.
I know, he's
and
fresh.
And on top of that, they kept taking him out and putting in Michael Carter, and I think it hurt them both because they both could not get into – they did it anyway, but we didn't see the maximized potential because they couldn't get into that rhythm. You take a running back out of his rhythm, I mean –
Javonte's going to be great, for sure.
I think Michael Carter's going to be pretty good too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's all right.
I have him. He's running back 10 for me, but
Yeah, okay.
I do really like him.
Yeah, but PFF has Javonte as their number 1 running back now.
That's interesting.
Do you see that? Yeah.
Wonder where they got that from.
I don't know.
Probably started with that and Grego hype.
But yeah, I like them both. But yeah, so just wanted to kind of circle back to Najee, share my final thoughts on him.
Yeah, and I while we're with the running backs, by the way, I do want to bring up that and I talked about this on the show the other day with Steffi. Trey Sermon is gonna be a big time player in the NFL because he's got one of the best 10-yard splits in the entire draft. His biggest issue was his injury, but it was a shoulder injury. It's not like something that we worry about, like the arthritic knee with Todd Gurley.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. And like, to be honest with you, I have said it over and over again. Sermon, when he runs, in his bigger runs, the first 25 yards, he looks like college Georgia Todd Gurley. And then really the only issue with him is he ran a 4.61, so like he doesn't have the long speed. I'm okay with that. I don't need a home run hitter, especially in this league. You get a Sermon, and then you pair him with, like, I'm just saying this, if the Steelers decide not to go with Najee Harris, they decide to go, offensive line. I think this is the best option, by the way. If they go Ray Dunes and say they get Miners, and then in the 3rd or the 4th round, they end up with Trey Sermon. Sermon and McFarland would be monstrous.
I'm not sold on Sermon.
You don't like him?
Yeah, when I watched his tape, I was like, okay. I see like another, like, probably better than Benny Snell, but just similar James Conner, Benny Snell. Like,
it also depends on, like, the weird thing with him, it's what tape did you see? Did you see towards the end of the year?
I don't know when the games were.
At the end of the year.
I'll go back and rewatch him. But
yeah, because he's legit. Another guy that you could look at, Kylan Hill, great balance, can be a good running back in the league.
Kenneth Gainwell?
Kenneth Gainwell is more...
What is he?
He's more the same style as Anthony McFarland.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be like having two of the same guy. Although he's great. I love him.
Right, but we don't need that.
And I love Puka Williams, but that's like the same thing as, Anthony McFarland. And then Khalil Herbert, who's smooth as all hell. He's probably the smoothest running back in the draft. I mean, love him. And then Jermar Jefferson has the best vision of any back in this league.
Okay.
In this draft, not the league. So if you're looking for a guy who, is going to be patient and similar to Bell, Jermar Jefferson, the way he runs, I wouldn't say he's the same receiving back, but he reminds me of Bell in the way he's very methodical in his approach.
Okay.
And he doesn't he'll stop and scan and then he goes.
Yeah, that's what Bell did.
So
that was always so cool. That was my favorite thing about Bell.
So weird. It was like watching a completely different type of style of running.
Oh, I've never seen anything like it. And it worked all the time. He was just so good at just kind of letting it develop and then finding it and hitting it.
And
it was really
dancing.
cool.
It was just
it wasn't
stop
dancing.
And he'd scan.
Yeah.
And then he just
It's
go.
way different because dancing is like they're trying to juke out behind the line of scrimmage, which is don't ever do. It's just a waste of time.
It's so bad. You know who used to dance a lot? He ended up being a great running back.
Steven Jackson.
Yeah. I never understood it, dude. You're 6'3", like a linebacker essentially running a football at a 4.4 speed. 4.3 maybe. He was fast. You're watching him dance and you're like, what are you doing, bro? Just go. You're going to run through the line, and then you're going to carry the linebackers with you for another 10 yards.
Yeah.
That was my biggest issue with him, but he was awesome.
It was funny, though, because Le'Veon didn't really do that in college. He, developed it at the NFL, and it just worked.
Who the hell's your running back coach?
I don't
Pay him all the money.
I forget who it was at the time, yeah. But
I'm going to look him up right now. When did Le'Veon get drafted?
It might have been James Saxon, or is that the tight ends coach? I don't know.
Steelers running back coach.
We have a new
2012?
one. 2012? Yeah, somewhere around there.
Eddie Faulkner.
Yep. Okay.
That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, he's a big time running back.
He's there right now.
Is he?
Yeah, he came back.
Oh, no shit. Oh, okay, cool.
Well, he was only there in 2012.
And then he left, and now he's back?
And then he left, went to Wisconsin to be a tight ends coach. Then NC State to be a fullbacks coach, which I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And then now he just came back in 2019.
Awesome. Hey, maybe Najee Harris will develop that skill set.
I need to know, though.
Imagine if he does.
When was Le'Veon Bell drafted?
Then we would know. I don't think it was
Bell.
2012, man. I think it was it?
Oh, wow. 2013.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2012.
So
Okay.
who was it then?
Steelers running back coach 2013. James Saxon.
It was Saxon, okay.
You nailed that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's depressing because now it's like that's not the guy he's now the Arizona. Oh my God, he left the Steelers in 2018.
Oh, he's the running back coach
He's the
there.
Arizona running back coach.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
2019 to now.
Yep. So James Conner, go ahead, have fun, bro.
That makes sense.
I'm annoyed with James Conner.
If James Conner ends up becoming a god,
He won't. He can't even stay on the field.
that's true. But if he does,
I'm bitter.
James Saxon is the guy.
Yeah.
Well, how long was he with the Steelers?
I don't remember.
No, he wasn't the running backs coach in 2013. Oh, no, he started in 2014 through 2018. I'll give him the credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was there for the prime of Le'Veon's career.
That's so crazy. Yeah, Le'Veon's run style is just amazing.
It was really cool to watch.
If you missed it, you got to go back and you got to watch him.
Yeah.
Vector says Jalen Phillips is the best pass rusher when healthy. Totally agree. You know who had a really good video? I brought him up before. And right now I can't remember his name. What's his name? You've seen him before.
Brett Coleman?
Yes, Brett. Thank you. God, I was not going to remember that. Brett Coleman came out with a video. Very interesting. You want to check it out. Jalen Phillips is an elite pass rusher in this draft. He's the best. He's up there with all of them, like I said. But he compared him to the Watt brothers. He says that he has the power that J.J. Watt has, but the speed and the bend that T.J. Watt has. So he said this guy's essentially a Watt brother like fusion.
Easy, bro. That's disrespectful.
I don't know if it's disrespectful.
He's saying he's going to be better than both of them then, basically.
I don't know if he's saying that.
He's just saying they have a lot of good traits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, I mean, then yeah, that's a great prospect right there.
So he initially started at UCLA, and then he transferred to Miami. And he was on the same...
I'll watch his tape. I haven't even watched him because I don't... Pass rusher is not that high on my board for obvious reasons. Though it might be higher than I think because we don't have anything behind Alex Smith or Highsmith.
They don't?
No.
I want to look at their...
No one worth mentioning.
You know, that's very disrespectful.
It's Cassius Marsh and...
okay. All right.
Yeah, someone else.
You didn't have to mention Cassius Marsh.
Why? Did he hurt you?
No. Carlos Davis? No, that's...
No, he's a DT, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm reading this wrong. Christian Kuntz.
You got behind... Yeah, Cassius Marsh.
And you think they aren't going to draft an outside linebacker?
And Alex Highsmith. Oh, my God. There's no one behind Alex Highsmith, technically, according to the depth chart.
What if he falls down the stairs tomorrow?
Yeah, no, they're going to draft... They're going to draft an outside linebacker, but not in the first, 2 rounds, I would think. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if someone falls, I wouldn't put it past them. But.
Well, let's... I'm going to pull my drive up. I want to see my board. Look at...
Listen, it's hard enough for me to accept that they will be taking a running back in the first. But if they don't even address the running game at all in the first, I'm going through the roof, man.
I'm not saying they should take an edge early.
But they could.
But
because look at the depth chart. I mean, it's empty.
Okay, here's what I could say. Okay. So, first round, they go offensive tackle, probably Ray Dunes or somebody like that. Second round, they go interior offensive line. Third round, they get an edge defender, and they get a guy. I mean, you'd be looking at. Well, I mean, what's your archetype that you look at? Do they 6'6" pass rushers?
No, 6.
It feels like they
4,
like
6'5"
guys.
Yeah, because outside linebackers tend to be a little shorter.
Yeah, so Quincy Roche, potentially in the third from Miami. So you gotta watch the Miami film.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Patrick Johnson from Tulane. Might be a little early for him. For how everyone else looks at the board, I love him. He's my 7th pass rusher. Yeah, I would probably say Hamilcar Rashed, Patrick Johnson, Quincy Roche, Joseph Assad. I think he might not be there. Ronnie Perkins, Rashad Weaver, and Cameron Sample from Tulane. And Victor Dimukeji from Duke.
Okay.
Those are some names to keep in mind.
Have you, kind of jumping topics here, but have you decided yet who you want the Rams to get in your perfect draft?
To be honest with you, it's so tough because there are a lot of guys I like. I'm really starting to love Peyton Turner from Houston.
Is he what is he?
He's a edge defender.
Okay.
6'5", 270.
So you're looking at edge in the first pick?
I'm looking at best available within reason. So no quarterback, no running back, maybe a wide receiver, but I personally wouldn't draft one. Yeah. I know they're looking at wide receiver early on. There's a chance that they could take a wide receiver early. Tight end, no. Offensive tackle, depends, If Ray Dunes falls to 57, you'll be pissed because Steelers. That means Steelers passed on
twice. That would mean they passed twice.
That'd be so bad.
Yeah.
Interior offensive. I don't like picking a center at 57. I don't like that.
Really? I think that's good value for like a top center.
I like a third round.
Dang.
If that's like your first pick in the draft, though.
I guess that's fair.
Linebacker, I definitely like.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys fan of Dylan Moses at 57, but I feel like he's going to fall to the point where I'm like, even though I value him at 57, why would I pick him at 57
if you could get him at no one else the third? Yeah.
So right now, I mean, if I had to make a selection for the Rams that made sense,
tell me, who would it be?
Might be Peyton Turner.
Okay.
I love him, and I think putting him alongside Leonard Floyd. Because here's the thing, they drafted a pass rusher in the third round last year in Terrell Lewis. Didn't really love the selection. I know everyone raves about him, and how great of a selection that was and how he fell into their lap. But for me, he got drafted where I had him. He's my 11th edge.
Yeah.
This guy, Peyton Turner, is my third edge in the draft.
Okay.
If he was at 57, he's probably one of the best on my board at that point. Him,
I can't wait.
Asante Samuel Jr. because they're looking at potentially
I like him a lot.
Corner.
He's a little smaller though, right? He's 5'9", I think.
Yeah, I don't really care about that though. Because the starting corner that is with the Rams right now next to Ramsey's 5'9".
Oh, Darrell Williams is 5'9"?
Yeah, Darius Williams.
Oh, Darius, sorry.
I wasn't trying to correct you.
Yeah.
So they're looking at slot corner. They're looking at edge, probably. Linebacker, probably. Could get an interior defensive line later on in the draft to replace Brockers, but they're pretty good there. Interior offensive line, absolutely. They don't have a center at this moment. They could, because they could move Corbett in at center, and they have plenty of guard depth and tackle depth. But we'll see there. They could get a tackle and wide receiver. So right now, wide receiver, offensive line, linebacker, edge, and corner is all I would really expect the Rams to target early on.
Defense. You're looking defense? Yeah.
If they go interior offensive line, we'll be surprised. They have a Hall of Fame offensive tackle announcing their picks in day 2, Orlando Pace.
Hey, there you go.
So if he announces the next here's the thing: they've been known to do things that you're not expecting. So maybe
that's true.
Maybe they go out and they draft another tackle after taking 2 within the last 4 years. I would not be shocked if they did. And if a guy like Eichenberg is there, or Ray Dunes, or Cosme, they might take them. But guys that they've met multiple times with, this is the most important thing. Asante Samuel, and I don't know, because if you pick him, then it wouldn't matter. But Quinn Miners.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah.
I don't know if I take Miners until the 3rd.
I think he's worth 57. I think he's gonna be good, man. I really like him.
He fell in my top 10 in interior offensive line, though. So I really like him, but I don't love him the way everyone else does. So the way I have it at this point, I think Kendrick Green is a great option, and he'll be there in the 3rd out of Illinois. Ben Cleveland is very interesting because at 6'5", 343 pounds. He moves so well, you could kick him in at center, and he would just be a Goliath at center.
Yeah.
Aaron Banks is another one, really good guard from Notre Dame, plug-and-play guy. Maybe you move him to center. Josh Myers, we've talked about in here. David Moore from Grambling State. He is a monster. The way I look at him is he's Quinn Miners. If you took like that level of competition, the fact like he dominated, but he has more technical skills than Quinn Miners. He's not just bullying people. He actually has really good technique.
Gotcha.
And then Deontay Brown.
Oh, I like Deontay Brown.
He's good.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know, man.
There's a lot of.
I think Peyton Turner makes the most sense. Fill that edge spot because last year they were the number 1 defense in the league, and they didn't have like a top edge defender next to Leonard Floyd. And Leonard Floyd came onto the scene, but no one expected Leonard Floyd to be as good as he was. So now that they have a legit one, they have Aaron Donald in the interior. You have A'Shawn Robinson, one of the best nose tackles up and coming in the league, and Sebastian Joseph Day. Now I want to see a legit edge defender next to Leonard Floyd. And I feel like Peyton Turner, he played with his hand in the dirt. He played standing up. He can do it all. He can stop the run. He's going to be a monster. Cool. I think so. Bet.
We'll see. I'm excited for the draft, man. It's going to be fun to see how everything's going to unfold because we're having these conversations and like some team is going to do something and make it all fall apart. It's going to be like
Dude, I know. This is why every year I've been doing like a 7-round mock draft. Like think about the people that were typing up their 7-round mock draft about to submit it. Or think about the people that did submit it yesterday and then the trade goes down. Like, screw that.
It breaks everything.
I'm not doing it. I'm not going through that. I've spent so much time doing mock drafts like that. Not happening. I might do a video on, like, the first round. But that's the closest thing I'll do to that. It's just there's way too much that could go down.
Yeah.
And we already got that trade. So who's to say another one doesn't just pop up before the draft?
Oh, I think there will be. I think it's going to be a weird draft, and I'm very excited.
We like chaos.
Yeah, for sure.
We like that.
Yeah. Anything?
I was going to ask you. You got anything else?
No, I'm pretty good, man.
So,
I feel like we covered everything I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So when is it? Want to repeat it?
So
when we're doing it?
Thursday at 8, I believe. That's when.
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick.
Thursday at 8, Friday at 7, and then Saturday at noon.
Yeah, Thursday, 8 p.m.
Let's go.
I'm excited. Going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So you can catch me, Adam, and Alexis right here in this very room, this office, this studio. Thursday at 8, Friday at 7, Saturday at noon. So that's going to do it. And that'll be our AJ show, essentially.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to do another one.
Yeah.
We'll already be live during the time, so it works out pretty well. But that's going to do it for us. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to follow Adam at, what is it, Renegade Adam?
Renegade Adam on Twitter, _ Adam himself on Instagram, Adam Steele on YouTube.
Yes, definitely check out Adam Steele. He's killing it. You can follow me at JkBogen DTSN on Twitter, at JkBogen on Instagram, and if you want to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, it's just Jake Ellenbogen, all caps. But that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back next week, not in this capacity, but more in a bigger capacity, covering the whole NFL draft. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys there, and you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of